the social media posting about George Floyd's death and all the riots affected your personal daily life? Yeah, that's how you say it.
It's just like with any other Black person that's died at the hands of the police. It was videotaped. We actually got to watch this man die. He was non-resistant, and surveillance shows, cell phone video shows. We haven't got to see any dash cam. We haven't got to see any body cams from the police officer, but what we have seen, we watched that police officer kill George Floyd, and my children have seen it.
Yeah.
I've watched children cry over it. I've cried over it. And it's not just because, not just he's a Black man, because he was a person. And with social media, of course, you're going to have two types of people. You're going to have the people that feel for him, and then you're going to have the people that sit there and say, oh, well, he deserved it. So it's been hard.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Keenan, what was your first thought about George Floyd's death?
You can hear me real quick, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my first thought about it was like, at first, just the way it popped up into my life was I was just scrolling through Facebook, and then I saw some posts that were, I don't know, it was just like up close of that police officer's face when they had been taking that video, that someone had just cropped an image from that. And that was just what I saw. And then it said some little hateful message about that police officer there. And so that was what introduced me to it. And then I did some digging and looked at some articles and some different reports on what had happened from a few different perspectives. And then I started forming my own opinion after that. But yeah, it just kind of showed up for me out of nowhere.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
It says you're on mute.
Oops. Sorry.
No.
Oh, gosh. Okay, my brain is fuzzy apparently today. Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler, do you believe that everyone is as important as another person? This isn't anything to do with racism. This is to do with, do you believe that people are equally and should be treated equally in a sense?
Yes. Fundamentally, I think people are like Labradors. There's chocolate ones, there's yellow ones, there's black ones, but inside they're all the same. I think we're divided a little bit in this culture, maybe the media and social media pushing that, but no, everyone is just as valid as everyone else, period.
All right. So, and I know that a lot of us have lived through a lot of traumatic things in our lives. 9/11 and the coronavirus, the quarantine. So here's my question. The what?
The banking fraud and housing collapse, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on in our lifetime that's just been crazy.
Yeah. So going on that topic, how do you feel about the shift from coronavirus to the riots and all the civil rights movements going on right now?
There wasn't much of a shift. It was just kind of like tossing everything in the blender all at once when you're making a smoothie. It was just, it starts out with the whole coronavirus thing and then just builds up, and then right at the climax of the whole corona thing where everyone's just ready to be done with it and tensions are kind of high, like, are they going to let us off of this quarantine stuff? It's just like right then, it's just everything else happens and it's just like, whoa, like what's going on? Like we don't know what to do because we're just processing so much, and it's just, I think that's part of the reason that a lot of tensions are so high right now, is because there's so many things going on and everyone's just trying to focus on their own thing and trying to move on to the next, you know.
I think with don't know. I think going from quarantine, it's a lot of pressure with everyone not being able to go to work, and racism is already a huge part in like our life and our culture. And I think because of the quarantine and all the pressure that's been built up, people have been more sensitive, and I think it's kind of interesting, actually. I think blacks have every right to do what they're doing.
I think race does have an issue in this, but this George Floyd plus the coronavirus, I think this is all coming to a head. People are desperate. People are scared. People don't know how they're going to pay their rent. We got our $1,200 one time way back when, and people are hurting. I know people personally who can't pay their rent, who can't get groceries, and I think with this corona lockdown, with the government forcing us to not have jobs, obviously not all of us, but I think, what was it, 30% at one point?
Yeah, the highest
Like,
unemployment's been in the record of the entire United
Yeah.
States.
People are frustrated and they're desperate and they're tired of seeing cops get away with impunity. It's a justice thing more than a race thing, in my personal opinion.
It is, and I think a lot of it does rest on the shoulders of individuals, though. You can't just say that it's the entirety of the police force as a whole. I think it's individuals on the police force, but there is also certain aspects of the legality side of things, the legal part of what the police force can and can't do, that does allow them to do certain things that they can label as racist very, very easily, and they can get away with a lot of racism things based on the way that the legal system works. And it is coming to a head, Tyler. I totally agree with you there. It's just a lot of things all boiling together at once, and is just getting to the point where everyone's done with it, and then something like this comes up where someone's just so blatantly against someone without any sort of reason other than the color of their skin and the fact that they were able to make them a victim at that point without any kind of repercussions in that moment. Because it's like everyone else was just watching. Nobody else was going to step up and do anything, so he could do whatever.
No, there were citizens. There were citizens there crying out to let them up. It was the three other cops that blocked those citizens. Exactly. I understand that there's going to be there's of course cops that are good people. I would say probably a majority of them, but I think it's a system that we need to reform in some way.
It is.
Possibly by taking maybe these, police brutality lawsuits can come out of maybe a police pension fund rather than we just paying it through our tax dollars. Maybe it'll give some more incentive to intervene, but this is just an idea. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I was talking to Lena earlier, there's just a lot of issues with the system as it is, and also it's just a lot easier for final things to come down to the entirety of the police force being racist rather than that certain individual that was kneeling on that man. Rather than pinning the blame on who it belongs, it's a lot easier to put it on this entirety of the organization, because like I was telling Lena earlier, sorry, I keep saying that, but I never get to the point. But there was this one part that I was talking to her about. It was a thing that was in Chicago. They had done a study on the amount of different ethnicities within the police force, and there was a study that they had done. It was like back in 2018, but I can't remember exact numbers off the top of my head, so don't quote me on anything. I'm not a professional, whatever. But the majority of the police force was white males between the ages of like 20 something and 40, somewhere in that range is majority of that police force. A lot of individuals of different ethnicities, different heritages that were not white were the minority on that police force, but they were also the majority population of that particular area where this study was done. And so you see these different numbers where these white policemen are the majority of the police force, and they're more likely to encounter, just by pure statistics and pure odds, they're more likely to encounter more young black men that are going to turn and have it turn into something wrong, because the minority of the police force is of an ethnic background that's a minority, but the majority of the city is from that same ethnic background. So it's really easy to make this look like white cop on a racist police force murders black man who was innocent. But the way that the statistics lined up, it worked perfectly. But and you can't look at this one incident and say that that was the entirety of all police force. It's been a huge thing building up to this, and there's so many other racial injustices that have happened that have just been just like this one, but nobody brought it to light because not everyone was so fed up with it because of the COVID thing, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, you guys pointed out a lot of good things. I was also distracted.
I'm totally off topic. I apologize. I will mute myself again.
It's all good.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out which question's really good. So do you guys believe, I guess I should ask Jackie because she hasn't talked very much. Do you potentially believe that we could find peace and find a ground, like a middle ground?
No. There are still too many white people that are living in the past. And I really, as a white person, I really don't get it. I don't get why we live in the past. What happened in the past is essentially the past. And then there are black people as well that are living in the past too. And if that's going to keep continuing and we can't get over that, we're never going to be able to live as one race. It's always going to be divided race, and it's just going to keep going. So I don't see peace anywhere.
Yeah, and the way that this whole thing's going with the whole divided race is just making it worse and worse with people overreacting with the riots.
Oh man, you guys aren't gonna like my take. I think peace is.
Okay, Tyler, share your.
I think peace is definitely something we can do. It doesn't look good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to bullshit anybody like there's ever been a peaceful time on Earth. But in this microcosm of the United States of America, I think we can make it happen. I think what Jackie said, she's extremely valid. Everything you said was right on point. People are living in the past, and we don't know why. I think people are afraid. And I think through discourse and outreach in a positive way and not in a shaming way of people on the other side, we can get some of them and maybe pick up some momentum. I know it, from what I've been told, it's less racist now than it was. There's no slaves now, so we're making progress. It might not be like as fast as we all want it, granted, but I do think that people on my side and people on other people's side, I think we all do want the same thing, and that's to live a good, happy life and for our families to be protected and taken care of. That's what both sides want. We disagree about how to get there, but I refuse to say we cannot get there because America is a great nation. I believe it. It was beat into me my whole life, so that might be propaganda, but I don't even care because I believe it. And I love my countrymen. And when I talk one-on-one with people, I never come to these crazy disagreements that you see the media blasting or the social media blasting. I think once we can reject those types of things and realize that we really do all have the same mission. We just got to figure out how to get there. So, yeah, I think we could do that.
But see, that's the problem. We have the media in our ears.
True.
I mean, they only want to tell us specific things. They don't tell us everything, and it's like they're race baiting themselves.
That's 100%.
I mean, and that's why when I went off on a rant this morning on my Facebook, we need to stop blaming each other and blame the media, because people are getting pissed because we don't know about all these officers that are dying. We don't know about the white people that are dying. We don't know about some of these other like Hispanics or anybody else that's dying, because the media knows. They know for a fact how we'll react to one certain story. So they're not going to tell us the rest.
Nailed it.
And I was saying earlier when it was just the one-on-one.
Oh,
Can't hear you.
about now? Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. You're back.
There you go.
Yeah, because I have a game streaming setup. I do a lot of video game streams, and so this is more geared towards playing video games than conversation with people. But yeah, like I was saying earlier in the one-on-one interview, a lot of the things that are going on, just there's so many different takes on it that can be had. There's just so many different things that can be said. It's just a matter of who can spin it to fit their agenda fastest. It's just who can say this happened because of first, and then whoever gets it first, then all of a sudden this thing becomes their agenda, and then it's the face of their campaign that they're trying to promote to the world. And so rather than us having facts, it's just us having whoever got to this particular incident, it's just us having whoever got to that particular incident first. It's their opinion rather than actual facts. And so we're dealing with an individual or a handful of individuals' opinion rather on a situation and what it interprets down to rather than the actual facts of the matter. And that's incredibly frustrating because then those of us that are just stuck at home not facing this firsthand, we're just stuck with secondhand opinions that frankly are just that, opinions. They're not facts. We're stuck having to piece together our own opinion from these different, already very, very heavily political and weighed down opinions that somebody else already has. And so it's just so hard for the rest of us, and it makes it so much more frustrating. And I think that's part of the issue right now is nobody's being factual about everything. It's everybody's opinion. And so it just gets to the point where it boils to a head, you know?
Do you guys mind if I ask a question?
Go for it, man.
Because I find it very, plainly obvious that we all agree that the media is a wedge. They're wedging our people apart, right? Okay,
Yeah.
So I think the reason they're doing that, and I'm just spitballing here, but they have an incentive for inflammatory rhetoric. They get money from views. So, and then this happens, and they know, we want to piss off the left. We want to piss off the right, X, Y, Z. We know they do that. We know that's the model under this capitalist system for the media. So my question is, do you guys think that there's a way we can move past this to a maybe post-capitalist media, maybe some way we can, I don't know, all
I just think
fund it or something? Do you think we can get past this pay incentive?
I think what needs to happen is when something like this that hits media coverage happens, what I think should be happening is I think all police reports should be made very easily accessible publicly. So like if something like this happens where we have a man that's very clearly begging for his life being very clearly misused, abused, and treated like garbage, where something this blatantly obvious happens, I think we need to have an equally obvious and equally accessible factual report on what happened. Like we need to be able to be like the second we see something like this pop up on some kind of social media or news outlet, we need to be able to just hop on our computers or on our phones or whatever and just look up the actual police report so we can see hard facts of what happened. Like officer such and such detained this person for this suspicion, and then this ensued. A factual play-by-play. We need to be able to have ready access to that. And because then when we have just a factual thing right in front of us, like this person said this person hit them, this person said this person said that. When it's a play-by-play that's not full of opinion of, because this black man said whatever, then when it's not that political opinion and we can make our own opinions, I think that's going to make things a lot less tense because we're not going to be in this constant argument with everyone around us of, should I side with them? Should I not?
I like where your head's at with that.
Yeah.
I think that's good, but we know that police write reports to favor them. We know that.
True, and that is very true.
So that would be my hesitation with that.
Yeah,
I
but
think-
I think it.
Favoritism.
Yeah, it definitely is a form of favoritism, but I definitely think that needs to be more readily available, especially the body cam footage.
Well, conveniently, their body cam was off. Not in this time, but it happens quite often.
Every time that something major happens, yeah, conveniently.
Every time there's a complaint of abuse, it's off. But every time they find some kid with a dime bag of weed, it's magically on. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then 6 years later, after the whole thing's boiled over and everyone's on to the next issue, it's like all of a sudden some magic body cam footage shows up and the body cam wasn't really off. But yeah, I think those kind of things definitely need to be made readily available. Like body cam footage, that would be perfect because there is no way you can bias that. You can say whatever you want on camera, but when it comes down to it, the person watching that is the one that's going to make their own opinions off of what you say. You can't show little snippets here and little snippets there thrown in with some voice clips and some fancy facts. It's all there. And yeah, it's definitely one of those things that we need some kind of change on. And I think we need to view it as, because right now it's a protesters versus policemen type view. And then a few years ago, it was the LGBTQ group versus whoever else was protesting it. It's like, it's your personal life, do what you want. But it's like, you have these different groups, and I think that are agreeing essentially on the same thing, but they're disagreeing on ways to go about it. They agree on the end cause, but they disagree about ways to go about it. And I think what we need to do to unify and face this is, what we need to do is, rather than us versus us, we need to go us versus the problem. Because when it's us versus the problem, we're all working together and we're all collaborating and making things happen. When it's us versus them, then we got people lighting police stations on fire and robbing Target and AutoZone and stuff. And that's not solving anything. Like, I don't care if you want a 55-inch flat screen. That has nothing to do with our racial inequalities right now. Like, that's got nothing to do with it. We need to view it as everyone versus the problem rather than us versus them, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's just so nebulous.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
I'm
Jackie.
talking a lot. I apologize. I'm talking a lot. I apologize.
We're listening.
But yeah, it's
Don't
just,
worry, we're listening.
yeah, I've got a lot of opinions on this, and I have been so heated about this with a lot of my friends. Like, he's listened to me talking about this a lot and how I think that there's just so much going on that needs to be fixed. Yeah, I'm sorry. I will be quiet for as long as until somebody says something that really gets me going. Then I'll pipe.
Well, that's the reason I'm doing the Zoom. It's to be able to get different people's perspective. It's not just to, like target like certain groups of people. It's to get people's perspective on this, because it's really hard at this time, because a lot of people think that whites are super like up there and then the African Americans are way down here. And ever since I was a little girl, I was told to respect everybody. Doesn't matter their skin color, doesn't matter anything. And so that's what I think we all need to be teaching in the generations to come, is to be teaching that no matter what you are, you should be kind and you should be loving. And so that's what I think.
Yeah, and that's what I've always been taught too.
I mean, that's the obvious position. That's why it makes it so confusing when someone can have that deep hatred in their heart for someone who's on beneath the skin exactly the same as them, essentially.
Yeah, it's like
just them born in a different hemisphere. That's the only difference. It's very confusing.
Exactly, and half the time they're not even born in a different hemisphere. It's just a different bloodline. I saw this thing the other day that really resonated with me, honestly. It was someone said, it was just a single picture. Someone said, this is my beliefs on the George Floyd racial issue going on right now. And it was someone had, I don't know if you guys have ever lived on a farm or whatever, but like you go to the store and buy eggs, they're all bleached white. They're all really pretty looking. But you work on a farm and you got these brown ones, you got all different shades. Like there's never two eggs that look the same. But
Yep.
somebody had put this picture that said, this is my beliefs on this whole thing in one picture. And what they were getting at was they had a brown egg and a white egg, and in the shell they look different. The shell looks different, but once you crack them open and see the inside, you couldn't tell them apart, because inside we're all the same person. We all just want to go home at the end of the day, sit back, relax after work. Policemen are like this. Different ethnicities are like this. They're all like this. Everybody after work, we all want the same thing. We all just want to go home and just hang out and just live a peaceful life. We don't want to have to deal with hate all day, every day. That's not what we're about. We're all the same inside.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of what to say. Like, you all have really good points. And I was listening. Sorry, I have a sleeping cat, and so he's really cute, and I just can't resist.
Where's he at? Let's see him.
Okay, you can see him. Hold
Come on, you know we love cats over here.
I'm totally about to fall in pet this cat.
Yeah, that is a cute cat. That is a very cute cat.
Cool.
Yo, so
All right, thanks for
Well, he's
indulging me.
only 4 months old, so he's little.
Yo, I got something to say.
Go ahead.
All right, so there's this video I seen the other day. This white child running up to another child, and that child was a black kid, and they ran up.
It's just so hard to keep the racial pronouns just where
African American, that's what I've been told to call.
It's just so hard to keep everything straight right now, because there's so many different things where people could get offended. But none of us are trying to offend anyone. I just want to make that clear. No one's trying to offend anyone right now, right?
I'm trying so hard to piss you guys off. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah,
You're trying to offend us? Is that what you're doing?
Oh, no. What the
I'm just kidding.
All right.
Go ahead, share your story.
As I was saying, these white kid ran up to this black kid, and they give themselves the biggest hugs. And I was thinking to myself, why can't we be like that today? Well, not like as grown-ass people walking up and giving each other hugs randomly, but it'd be cool to see as a nation. It would be fucking beautiful to see all of us like together in a way. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you know how the police decided to kneel in front of the whole community? I think as a people we should be doing that as a people as well.
I don't think we can even do that without some type of outside force. That would need to be on some World War II type stuff, I think.
That's what's gonna happen though, bro. Like, I can see it. It's gonna fucking happen. I just don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious. We're heating everything up right now.
It's building to a head, and when this thing gets to the conclusion, it's going to be nasty before this is over. And I can see a lot of things brewing, but I just want it to head in the right direction where something's actually going to happen, and we're going to have some kind of change rather than it just go to some just totally wasted conflict. I want this to, because I very, very firmly believe that things can be peaceful and we can all get along and agree and just be on equal terms with each other and accept each other for who we are. And I very firmly believe that. But if there is some kind of injustice that's not being fixed, I have no issue with people. Sorry. My soda's not agreeing with me. It's an energy drink. It's an energy drink, so it's very carbonated. But anyway, I'm just yeah. But
Busted.
yeah. But anyway, it's just I don't even remember what I was saying now. I'm laughing. Sorry. But yeah.
This is why we don't drink energy drinks.
Yeah.
Who's we? This ain't France, it's America. We do.
All I know is before we got married, my husband would drink Monster all the time, and now he drinks Dr. Pepper all the time. And so we're slowly learning that you can drink water as well, and it really does help you get energy. Not against Dr. Pepper. I'm obsessed with Dr. Pepper, but I'm saying we are learning how to be good at treating our bodies right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I was before I got married too. It's just like I was drinking energy
Possible back
drinks
there.
all day. Yeah, he's
That's awesome. I love that fool. He don't even care.
yeah. He's yeah. I don't know, and this is the thing. We're in Rexburg. It's like we're like this. He's just past caring what people think. I'm honestly past caring what people think, and I just wish more people would be like that. More people would just be willing to
Do no
accept
harm.
who they are. Because he's a total freaking wingnut. He's crazy. Yeah, see now he's acting like a dummy. But you don't need to show off, dude. But it's like I just wish people would accept people like him and me. Like I can't wear this hat in town and not get looked at funny. It's like it's Rexburg. I can't like not shave and have people looking at me like, is he not like a college student? Is he not following the honor codes of like the college? It's like it's so ridiculous. It's like people get judged for not following somebody else's standards. It's like I think that we just need to be more accepting. Like, yeah, I don't follow your standards and you don't follow my standards. It's like this person might be making totally different life choices than me, but I'm still going to treat them with the same respect I would hope somebody treats me.
That makes sense. But Jackie, I'm just wondering what you would think. Like, do you think that there's a solution to get past like this tribalism that we feel? Like, is there a way past it that we can get together? Like you say, and not you. I'm fucking around.
But I think the only way we might possibly able to get through it is to, because this is, I made a video this morning. This is a lot of people's problems. People just want to remain silent and stay in the background. They don't want to open their mouths about anything that's going on because they fear the repercussions that other people are going to say about them, think about them, how it's going to make them feel toward them. I mean, I had a 27-minute long video this morning because we had a protest here in my town yesterday, and I live in Anna, Illinois. And if you know anything about this place, what Anna stands for.
What does it stand for?
Ain't no.
Okay.
Look it up on Wikipedia. That's
Like,
it.
is it just like a small town in the middle of nowhere that's not?
Southern Illinois. It was actually named after the founder of the city, his wife, Anna. Well, Anna. But we're also a sundown town.
Well, actually, real quick. So you're from Anna, Illinois?
Yeah.
I'm from Rexburg, Idaho. I know the history of my city, and anyone else that's in Rexburg, like him, obviously, he's in Rexburg. So, like, anyone else that's in Rexburg obviously knows, like, Rexburg. But, like, where is everyone else from? Because I just kind of want to get a little bit more perspective and see where we're all dealing with different things from.
Well, I'm in Meridian, Idaho right now. I'm from Long Beach, California.
Yo, are you really?
I ain't lying.
That's the brother.
That's just shit.
Yeah,
And by the way, it's Illinois, not Illinois. I know that killed Jackie.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I live in Grandview, Idaho, which is like 45 minutes away from Boise. Yeah, like 45 minutes. We lived in Nampa and then we moved. Yeah, for my husband's job.
Yeah.
I went from the city to a little town that's the population's mostly cows, so.
Yeah,
Has
and
it been like a culture shock for you?
No, it's not a culture shock. It's really hard because I'm one of those people that likes to go out, maybe walk around, like window shop or something. And so when we moved here, I'm not a little city person. Like, I'm okay with living outside the city as long as I can go drive into the city just a little bit enough that I can get my fill. So it's kind of perfect, but it's kind of sad because all my friends are not here. So kind of stinks.
I really feel you on that. I really feel you. And I said that in my video today too. I live in what you would consider a country town, little country town. I'm a city girl. I am a city girl because I grew up by Chicago. I need to be in the city. This is not.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to convince my husband that we need to move somewhere that's big buildings, you know, and,
Yeah.
you know, I don't have to drive. Somebody else can drive me or something. I don't know.
Well,
So your plan is to get rich.
I need to live somewhere, drive through the town, and fart the entire way.
Because you know Eagle Road, Tyler?
Mm-hmm.
You know Eagle Road?
Yeah, I work on Eagle Road.
So I worked at Wendy's in Eagle, and I'd had to drive Eagle Road like every day for like 3 months. And I think I actually got more angry driving skills than I ever had before. I think my anger like rose a lot in Eagle.
So I'm just gonna say, if you've ever lived on the East Coast, like Maryland, Rhode Island type stuff, road rage in Idaho,
That's what it's
Utah, anything past like Louisiana, road rage is just a joke. On the East Coast, anything on the other side of America past Louisiana, road rage is like insane. Like there's people pulling guns and like drifting donuts in the middle of highways just because of road rage. It's insane out there. But yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Anyways, I just want to thank everybody for getting on the Zoom. I know we got distracted a little bit. I appreciate everybody's willingness to share their opinions and, you know,
Yeah.
being.
Are you're posting this on your channel?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel. You should go check it out. It's called Lena's
I mean,
Corner.
definitely send me the link. I want to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd watch that too. And then I'd probably talk to all three of you guys outside of this too.
Yeah.
Send me your links.
will.
Everyone's reasonable. It was a pleasure talking to everybody. I mean, it was nice to be able to have just a regular
Intelligent
conversation and like no one called anyone like a racist or a libtard or a cuck or nothing. Like I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys. And this is the type of thing that gives me that optimism that we can have peace because we all just did it right here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, guys, go be fun. I'll send you all the link to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'd appreciate
I'll edit it.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
they're going to the river, and so
It's good having
Yeah.
Don't fish too much.
In.
Don't
Good
go
luck,
to Bumpy
Jackie.
Rock.
this guy.
Nice.
I'm liking this Tyler
You
guy.
guys
He's
stay
funny.
up. And
All right, no, we'll connect.
keep
Yeah.
Shaka.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, I'll catch you later, G.